Hi, I'm Adrian Salisbury. This is SLR Coaching, and we're going to do an updated video on a cheap portable lighting kit that I use a lot professionally, and I'm really passionate about. This is good stuff, and it's about £120 max. So let's jump in and I'll show you what it is. Now let me explain what this is before I get into it. The idea of this is that the little pop-up flash that comes on the front of here is pretty useless. It really does do a poor job. If you're taking a photo of someone and you've just got this straight on, it's that kind of, it's a bit like going in one of these passport booths where you get a horrible flat photo. Don't want to do that. I hate this flash, and there's no circumstance when I would say use this flash, okay? Get onto a professional kit like the cameras I'm using here, they don't even have flashes built in. So that says a lot. So the idea is we're trying to replace the flash for this. Now we can put this flash unit here straight on top of the camera, and that's one way of using it, on camera flash. And that just screws down onto the hot shoe on the top of there, and then I can use this to point around and bounce it different ways. I do have a lighting video, and one of the methods I talk about is this on-camera flash, and there are scenarios when this is the best solution. What I want to show you here today is a lighting setup that you can use off camera. So you're no longer the flash sitting here, the flash is working off and around you. So similar to the lights that I've got in the studio here, if you've ever been to a studio, or if you've been to one of these guys in the shopping mall and they've got the thing set up with the big umbrellas and that, it's that kind of thing we're replacing with a very portable, affordable kit. So let me jump in. Let's start and work our way through. The light stand is the base of this. So £14 for this one. Is this what I take out professionally and use? No, I tend to have a more sturdy version than this. There's nothing really wrong with this. I just tend to go for something thicker and heavier that I know is more dependable. I know it can get bashed around a bit more, and yeah, it's just better made. These ones, sometime at the top of them here, the little screw that's in here can get loose and the thing just has a bit of wobble. Doesn't look very professional. But anyway, there it is. That's the first stage of this in. Now, on top of this, we need to put this bracket. Now, this again, £8. I've had different ones in the past. The one I'm linking to here does a very good job. Some of them have sort of really started wobbling and coming apart under here, but no problems with this one. I've been using this for over 12 months, 2 or 3 of these. So that just screws on to the side of there. And what that's doing is it's really giving me that hot shoe here on top. So I'll lower this slightly, we're getting a little bit high. So what this will do for me, I screw it on tight. I can actually adjust this to tilt over. I do have a slot in the front here, which is where the umbrella's going to go in a minute. And then really what I'm doing on this plate is all I'm doing is I'm tightening up these jaws, if you like, the clamps on the side, and that's where we're going to put the flash. Now previously, in the previous video, I was using these Yongnuo receivers. So that would go on, and then the flash would sit on top of that. What they've done now in this version 4, our £56 one, it's the same flash unit. As you can see, they've just improved it and upgraded it, and the main thing they've done is they've put Wi-Fi, or they've put a receiver into this. So no longer do I need to have this little unit sitting underneath. This has got the receiver built in. Now that in itself is a massive step forwards. I've broken 2 of these. They've just come apart when I've stood this kit in a bag that I put on my shoulder, and I've damaged it. And that's me screwed down. I can't do anything. That's me stuffed for the rest of the day. The other thing with this is, and it's a massive design fault. What happens on the side here is this is the same unit that goes on top of the camera, and it works as a receiver under the flash. So it's a transmitter and a receiver. So you buy them in a pack of 2. And on the side of here, I flick it to TX for a transmitter and TRX for a receiver. Now, if I don't put this back to off, when I finish my shoot, I come back to it a week later, this thing will be flat. There's no kind of inbuilt cut-off power saving mode or anything like that. It is very unforgiving, and the amount of times I've gone to this and it's as flat as a pancake, well frustrating. So constantly I've got to keep spare batteries in my bag, and it's just a frustration. So when they decided that they were putting this inside this new unit, I was really excited. That's a massive plus for me. So for now, what I'm going to do is to mount this on top of here. So I widen this thing right out. Can you see on there? I'm widening this out so I've got a gap in between. I tuck that in, and then with the screw on the side, I'm tightening it closed. And then I'm screwing this thread back down. So that really is now quite tight and secure on top. The play on it is within this little bracket. Actually, no, it isn't. It isn't the bracket. It's in the tripod. This is what I'm saying. There's a bit of play in the top of there. That's not going to hurt you. It's not going to fall off. And if you're using this in the home and just domestically, that's fine. That really was why I went up for a more professional one, that it was just the way it was finished was a sturdier build. Now, obviously, if you want to get a more professional light stand, well, follow the link through for this one and then have a look around on Amazon, and you'll see as the price goes up, they just get bigger and more sturdy. So there we are. That's the receiver end. That's my light unit in place. As an option, I can put an umbrella on. So this again, just £6. There's a massive umbrella, as you can see. So the idea with an umbrella is this is still quite a small light. So the way I would use this unit, and I'm going to come on to this in a minute, I might use this and bounce it around the room. If I've got a big white ceiling, then I can bounce off that and it works as a softbox. If I'm doing more studio-based work, then I would put this umbrella on the front and shoot through this. This whole area is becoming a nice soft light, and that's far more flattering than trying to shoot this flash straight at somebody. So as you can see, there's a hole in the bottom of here. That goes in. When you've got a bit more room than this, can you see that there? I've pushed that through. I then open that up and I can tighten this down. So quite quickly and simply, I've made myself a nice little unit here. I'm showing you this way around. It's not a reflective one. You can get ones which are black brollies and have a silver inside, and you shoot into it and then it bounces back out. The way I'm shooting this one here is going to be through the brolly, so the light is going to come that way. Okay, let's have a look at the transmitter. So this is my new transmitter that's going to sit on the top. That's quite a nice, smart little thing. When you look on the back, you know, I've got my display down here, and then I've got this extra display that's working the lights up the top here. Previously, I had 2 of these units, and you may well have these, and don't panic. It's not a case of throwing them away. It's just a new model that's better. So what I had before was 2 of these units. One sat on the top of here, and the other one sat, as I said, at the base of this, and I would set on here either TX for transmit, that's the one that sits on the camera. TRX is receiver, and that's the one that sits under the light here. Now, they were good, and I've used these for years actually. Very reliable. The only problem is a little bit temperamental. When you've got this balanced on the top of it, I've actually broken 2 of them that have just snapped away around the plastic. And if I've had a shoot and I put my lights away at the end of it and I don't flick this back to off, there's no kind of auto power off. This thing will just go flat, and next time I come to use it, it's got no life. So big frustration to me. I'm surprised any technology really doesn't have, you know, we get used to it, don't we? If you leave your phone or something on, it just goes into a power down mode. These don't. So that was a frustration. So if you've got these, just be very mindful of that. Always keep some spares with you. So what's changed then, other than the face of this? What is the point of having a display on the back of here, which will then be with me on the camera? Now I'm kind of holding this in because I'm really excited. In itself, it's doing the same thing, transmitting a message to the flash units that are sitting over here. Now, I shoot totally manual with my lighting. As I say, there is a video, I'll put a link to it below, that also needs updating with this new kit, but the way it works is still fine. I don't use TTL. I don't like my auto mode deciding how much light it's going to put onto a scene. I can work that out, it isn't hard. So what happens is I shoot in manual mode and it's very simple. Full power is 1/1. If I think it's too bright, I pull it down to half power. If that's too bright, I put it to 1/4, to 1/8, to 1/16, to 32, and I think I'm right, these go, to 32 is the bottom. So all I'm doing is very simply taking a photo. Is that too bright? Is it too dark? And I push the power up or down. It really ain't rocket science. You don't need your camera doing it. And the problem being with that is you've got no control over it. And frustratingly, a slightly different angle the camera might give you, for the same scene, a different power level. So shoot manual with your lighting. So what I'm doing, and this is where this really gets good, is I'm first of all setting this new flash. I put it on manual mode. Not sure what it's going to come as to you. It may well come in one of these slave modes. I'm going to put this into manual, and in the same way that the same terminology, same company, TX and RX. So RX is my receiver. So I'm in manual and RX. If you find you're getting this multi, you just need to press the mode button until you're only getting an M for manual. So I can change my power level in the same way as this old light used to do, from this center arrow just going left and right is taking my power up and down. So that's what I would have done. I would have had this set on here over somewhere else. Now, bearing in mind, I might be doing this in a studio setup. This might be, up and above 45 degrees, coming down on a model, lighting them. I might have another one right behind them, doing like a silhouette, a bit of rim light. Might have another one coming in at another angle. It's a right faff if I've got to keep going, oh, hang on a minute, let me just turn that one up a little bit. Oh, is that all right? Yeah, let me just do that one. What this does now is gives me the control of my lights, and I can have up to 6 of them on different groups, and I can adjust it all from the back of the camera. Now that is a big deal. So I'm set on here. This camera, at the minute they're not talking, it's telling me channel 1, group C. So as you can see on the back of here, I've got groups down here. Now all of a sudden, can you see that on the screen? As I'm adjusting this, which is on my camera, my power level is changing over here. And when I take my photo, there go my lights. Too bright? Oh, let's take it down a bit. Let's try 1/16. Yeah, that's more like it. It's as simple as that. Now, because we're on different groups, you can see this one behind me just about. This is group C, that's on group A. So when I press the group button over here, that takes me back up to group A. And again, forwards and backwards, it's the same controls as you've got on the back of here. But as you can see there, I'm pressing down here and the power is changing up there. I love it. This is such a massive step forwards. It makes you feel more professional. So here I am with my camera. I'm all set up. I'm taking my photo. Oh, no, let me just adjust that power a bit. Back in. Don't need to worry about that. I hope you realise what a huge step forward this is. This is kind of pro technology, really. Features, functions in such portable kit. £120 for one of these, well, all this kit you've seen. But as you can see here, I've got another light, and for the £56 each time for these, it really isn't bad for you to build up extra lights. Let me just explain a little bit about how I use these then. It might just give you a bit more creativity and a bit more thought as to, well, what scenarios could I use that in? Now, firstly, let me say I've been using these lights in different forms, this whole kind of strobist lighting is a fantastic website, strobist.com. David Hobby runs over there. That's really what opened my eyes to all this stuff. But I've been doing this for about 8 years now, using this kind of kit. I've done a lot of property, architectural work. I'll show you some images here. These are the kind of things that I am shooting with this lighting setup. Going into a home, I want to be able to take nice close detail shots, and I also want to be able to fill a room with light. Now, if I were taking wired lights, and sometimes I'm putting the light outside and shining it through the window. That's how you get a very natural lighting effect, it's as if it's a good sunny day. Well, there's extension leads going everywhere for that if I'm doing the powered version. Sometimes I'm in these properties and they don't even have mains power. They're on a showground, they're park homes, and I don't have power. Or maybe just the lights have been turned on from a generator, but plug sockets aren't working. So again, I'd be stuffed if I was turning up and I was expecting to run 3 or 4 big powered lights. These are so portable. As you can see, this is all this is. I've finished in my lounge and I want to go through to the kitchen. I just pick this up and go. There are occasions when I would put the light straight on top of the camera. It might be that in a bathroom I'm struggling for space, but to be honest, I tend to put this on the top of the door and just angle it around, and I can get this in a place where it's out of the way, not seen. But this kind of setup would easily get you going in a property. It is very, very rare that I even put these on half power. Hardly ever do they go on full power. And I say that just to show you that they're not underpowered. Don't think that these little units are any less than you would get from a big lighting unit. I can get more than enough juice out of these. For the price of them, it means I can have, say, 3 of these and get a more even light instead of one big chunky light being the main source. Now, my schoolwork is another area that over the years has been massive for me. I do a lot less now than I used to, but again, I would go into a school with these and I'm taking these kind of shots with it. So most likely they're portraits, they're close-in shots, and what I'm doing is, again, it wouldn't be feasible for me to go in with mains powered lights to try and do this stuff. I would have to take it very differently, and I would say, right, in this classroom, we're going to set up this pose. And I would then bring my lights in, I'd bring my students in, and I'd set all that up. But that's not my style. And I like to just be able to float around a room and go, yeah, I like that, what that kid over there is doing. I can get down low, and quite easily I can be subtle. Now, I don't use these umbrellas in that scenario, very rarely. They are in the bag. But what I can do, and in fairness, this is what I'm doing most of the time in my properties as well, is I am turning these lights around and I'm pointing them at the ceiling. I hinted at this earlier. Basically what you're doing with your umbrella is you're trying to soften this light. You're trying to make it as big as possible and as soft as possible. Now, if I point this at the ceiling, I'm creating, in effect, a massive big softbox on the roof. If I point it to a plain wall, same thing will happen. It's like a big softbox pointing in from the side. If I've got coloured walls like this, I can't bounce off it very well. So that would be, if I were in a room that was a dark walled, then I would need to be bringing umbrellas out. And I'd probably get a bigger umbrella than that. But yes, most of these shots that I'm showing you now were done with my camera. This setup using several of these lights, and what I tend to do is I'll bounce one, again, this is in my videos, I'll bounce one halfway between me and the subject. So if I've got someone sat at that chair just in front of me and they're looking at the teacher over here, I know what I want to take. So I don't have it next to me, I take it to the side so it's more natural, but I point it halfway on the ceiling between me and them, it bounces and it will light them up. But if I take that shot and look through, I can think, but the background's gone dark now. Because I've only lit this foreground space and the room itself isn't light enough for me, it makes it look very fake. So what I will do is I'll take the second camera on another stand and I will put that maybe in line with this student, and I'm pointing it straight behind them to light up the space behind. So all of a sudden with my two lights, one is on my subject, one is lighting up the background. And as I said then, I'm sitting here and I can adjust my powers accordingly. A little bit bright, no problem. So like I said, you can have up to 6 lights on different groups. So I can change the power of 6 different lights. Now I can have potentially an infinite amount of lights. They would just need to be on the same groups. There's only 6 options for the groups. Does that make sense? So if these two were both set up on the same group, then if I'm changing it on here to half power, both of these are going to work at half power. So you really can just grow this thing as big as you want. What about if you've got old lights? I've got several of these Mark IIs, the same Yongnuo light. What you could do with this, if you've got one, I can put this on a slave. So simply by me putting the mode on this to S1, then when this one triggers this, it's also triggering this one. If I want to, I can put this on manual mode and I can put a receiver on the bottom. Don't let me down. And again, when I fire on the camera, this is going. What it doesn't do is I don't have the ability to adjust the power setting on this one. So maybe you've got one of these and you've just bought an, how do I upgrade from having this with 2 trigger and receiver? So if you like this idea and you want to be adding a new light in, or maybe it's time to try an extra light, go for the new one. If you've just got this transmitter on your camera, yes, it will fire it. But if you pay the money and get one of these, then at least those two will talk to each other about power settings. This one, keep near you, use that as your distant one. That makes sense, doesn't it? So this one you'll have to do manually. This one you can do with your trigger. So I don't think I need to say any more than that about it. I've probably waffled on way too long. But I do like to just give you some practical advice along with it and tell you how I'm using it so that you can, it might just spark something with you and get you going. So please remember, this is part of a blog post. If you're looking at it on YouTube, head over to my website and you'll see all the links, and there's more detail and description in there. And yes, I will put a link there as well to this lighting training. It's gone down really well. I will show you how to set this camera, what settings I would use, what settings to use on your camera so that you're running this all manually. And we have a go at shooting with it with a light on the camera and then lights off the camera. So it's not any great detail I'm going into. It's more how do you, this video is, this is the kit you want to buy, and a bit of an overview with it. But if you then get it and think, oh, can't get my head around this, then paying $20, whatever it is for this next video is definitely worth it. But that's it. Didn't want to do a sales pitch particularly, but please comment. Let me know what you think to this. If you think I missed anything, or if you've got any other ideas, I'd love to hear from you. But I hope for now that helps you out. That's my update to the lighting kit. Can't recommend it enough.